Hello everyone. Recently I put up a poll on social media and y'all voted for a video game collection of 2023. First, we're going to go over the Game Boy Color. I love it. I had Pokemon Gold version. It's somewhere around here. I need to find it, but on hand I have Pokemon Red version. This is a great game. I was almost done with it before my nephew Zachary erased my data. Frustrating, but I love how these Game Boy Color cartridges are like mini NES cartridges. Another fun game that I played nonstop, my film of 2001, The Mummy Returns. I absolutely love The Mummy Returns. A lot of people grew up on the PS2 version. I have the Game Boy Color. And it's crazy because my parents got me a Game Boy Color, and about a month after that, they announced the Game Boy Advanced. So that's kind of crazy, but one of the first games I got outside of Galaga was Mission Impossible. I had a Batman animated series Activity Center, but in addition to that, we have the Yukon Trail, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 on PC. Then we have Terminator 3 War of the Machines. Then there was something with customizable heroes called X-Hero, Axis and Allies, and then somewhere here I have Need for Speed 3. Okay, going with PlayStation 1, Resident Evil 2, the OG. Most of these video games I inherited from my brother. I did have Wing Commander 4. It was his copy, and I wish I didn't give it back to him because he left it on the floor and it got cracked. He stepped on it. That really upset me. But luckily, some games were salvageable. We have Leon here with a campaign. And I love the old video games as far as like booklets go. I mean, you had like the booklet. Look out for the new Resident Evil film from Constantine Film. Here is Claire Redfield, young Claire. Going with 2-disc releases, we have Wild Arms, underrated RPG. I absolutely love this video game. Speaking of RPGs, the one that started my love for role-playing games, Final Fantasy VII, the OG. Oh my god. This is the video game that changed everything. I love it. And even more underrated, I think, is Final Fantasy VIII. The cinematics, the story. This is on 4 discs. If 3 discs wasn't enough, this is on 4. And Squall. Oh, the characters. It's just a great game. Then DFG, we have Gauntlet Legends. Very underrated fantasy game. Great for multiplayer. If you're a fan of the NES, you should play this. I first played this actually in the arcade. Then we have Jetmoto, and it's so old that it has the kids to adults rating. This doesn't have a cover, but me and my brother used to love playing Mortal Kombat Trilogy. This is his. This is what got me into Mortal Kombat besides the 95 film. Then one of the hardest platform games I ever played, Rayman, the original. Not bad. Maybe I should retry it now that I'm older. Speaking of a video game that I think needs a remaster is Frogger He's Back. Yeah, this is a crazy game. It would be kind of scary to see how this would look with modern graphics. Then we have Toy Story 2. I remember getting this on Christmas. That was a big deal. I love this. It reminded me of the old Toy Soldier video games. Then we have the original Spyro the Dragon. Oh my god, so many memories playing this game. And Crash Bandicoot. This is awesome, but the first video game I had on PlayStation, as far as like when I had my own console, the DualShock, Crash 2. Cortex Strikes Back. Oh man, so many memories with Naughty Dog and Universal. I don't have the cover anymore, but Crash Warped, the third one, is my favorite. Oh my god, I remember when I wanted this video game after school, my mom let me go pick it out at Toys R Us. You couldn't get the copy there, so you had to get like a paper slip and bring it to the front desk, and they give you a copy. It was great. Crash Team Racing, and then it's missing the case, but it has the booklet, Crash Bash. The new Crash video game kind of reminds me of this. And then the first technically video game I had and first PlayStation game of mine that my brother let me play when he had his console before the DualShock when it was just a regular controller was Motor Toon Grand Prix. I love this game. This is such a fun game. Oh man, and it's from the creator of Gran Turismo. This is like a really great video game. I can't explain it. It's like that opening, like when you go to Regal Theaters or like AMC and you see that like popcorn tour or something. Like it just has that feeling. It's just that magical feeling, this video game. Or maybe it's just my nostalgia. You know, you always remember your first one. And before that, I played like Sega Genesis and Nintendo, Kid Chameleon, Star Control, Star Trek: The Next Generation, Zelda, Super Mario Brothers with Duck Hunt. So many video games, but PlayStation, it was different when I had my own console, you know, and playing games. That was such a great thing. And one of my all-time favorites was Spider-Man. Oh my God, this defined my late childhood, early teenage years, let me tell you. And then Inner Electro, underrated. Not as good as the first in my opinion, but still underrated and improves on some things as well. Oh man, both of these video games are incredible. It doesn't have a case anymore. It used to have a long case, but my brother had the Raiden Project. This is a fun jet game. And then this actually might be worth a lot of money, complete. I have the complete. It's Lunar Silver Star Story complete. I could not get into the game. It looked like it had a great premise, awesome cutscenes. Just the video game. After Wild Arms, Star Ocean, and Final Fantasy, it's just... My brother had some video games. So this is a mixture of his old games and some of my old games. And he must have gone to a Hastings somewhere when he moved to Pennsylvania and Dallas. He was between those two places. He never returned a video game he rented. So here's Ogre Battle. Yeah, that's crazy. Speaking of which, the original Colony Wars he had was incredible. I didn't inherit that, but I have the sequel, Colony Wars Vengeance. I miss the old sci-fi video games. Oh my God. Speaking of which, Wipeout XL is awesome. The original Wipeout, of course, was seen on the movie Hackers. And, you know, that was one of the free games they gave on the PS3 when they had that hacking situation. Oh, dude, I don't know if anybody, men and women out there, do you remember demo discs? Jam Pack Underground. I remember playing the demo for Cold Borders 3 and Bloody War 2 on this thing. And then this is a sample disc I played when I discovered Spyro. It was the demo of Spyro, and I'm like, I want to get this game. Master of Monsters. And then, too bad this doesn't have a case. This game was in high demand when it came out. Madden 2000. Here's Need for Speed V-Rally, NBA Live 98, and then finally one of my personal favorites, Mega Man Legends. Okay, so going with PlayStation 2, we have Prince of Persia. Oh my God, I love this. It's like Arabian Nights and Aladdin. Oh, and then even darker, Warrior Within. I Stand Alone by Godsmack. I think of that song with Scorpion King, and then this video game. And yeah, it was a different voice. It was a guy from Babylon 5 during the Shadow Wars. Then Two Thrones, excellent trilogy before Assassin's Creed. And speaking of underrated video games, I love the Legacy of Kain video games, and here is Legacy of Kain Defiance. Next up, we have one of my personal favorite video games of all time, Grand Theft Auto Vice City. It's all down south now. Rest in peace, Ray Liotta. Oh my God, I love this game. Next up, we have Spider-Man on the PS2. Not bad. Spider-Man 2 is actually an improvement, but this first one was kind of like mind-blowing when it first came out. And then Ghost Rider. This is actually much better than the film, and maybe I'll do some playthroughs on the channel with this. I love this with motion comic like cutscenes, and oh my God. Jak 2 is another excellent game. My brother had the first one, but I had the sequels. And then after Jak 2 was Jak 3, even better than the second one. Oh my God, this is so Mad Max. Then is XG Racing, Extreme G Racing Association. I love this, the soundtrack, the noise therapy, oh my God. The soundtrack is awesome. The first game was a really good game my brother had. I got the sequel at GameStop. Actually, it might have been from a Blockbuster. It kind of has a soft cover. But oh man, this was just an awesome game. And then going to Batman is the last PS2 video game I got, Lego Batman. This tied me over in between Dark Knight and Batman Arkham Asylum. My mom got it for me for $29. I miss video games when they're like under $50. This is such a love letter to Batman. And then my favorite Batman video game before Arkham and Batman Begins, Batman Vengeance. Underrated video game set in the Bruce Timm, Paul Dini universe. Oh man. After that is his sequel, Batman Rise of Sinzu. The first time we had a villain made up for a video game, Batman Begins, and I love that they had the film cast here with Christian Bale and you could pick up the costumes. This game is so underrated. And then speaking of movie adaptations, Superman Returns, like Spider-Man 3, is better than the film. Oh my god, you get to see so much more of Brandon Routh, and I love that the health bar was the city. This is such an underrated game. We need a new Superman video game. Before Injustice, we had Justice League Heroes. This was done like in a Baldur's Gate X-Men Legends kind of way. And then going back to my high school years, Guitar Hero, Take Me Out. Yeah, I want to be a guitar hero. Yeah, I love this video game. I have the guitar still. Guitar Hero 2. That's the first one I played. Oh my god. Freebird, let me just tell you. Legends of Rock. I loved the metal version of Devil Down to Georgia. And then they had World Tour, and after that, it got kind of crazy, became very rock bandish. You know, the original people who did Guitar Hero did Rock Band. Activision bought the rights. It got messy. I didn't get Metallica, Aerosmith, but I got Rock the 80s, which should have been much longer. It's the encore, kind of like a DLC to Guitar Hero 2. And then going with PS3 Guitar Heroes, I have Guitar Hero 5 and Warriors of Rock. Finishing off the PlayStation 2, we have Mortal Kombat Armageddon. At one time, this was the last video game when Midway went out of business. I love it. Then we have Need for Speed Underground. I thought it was all about family and street racing. I swear I felt like I was Brian O'Connor in Fast and Furious when I was in high school playing this video game. And then here is my first PlayStation 2 video game, Crash Wrath of Cortex. I swear the graphics looked so good back then. It was such a step up from PS1. I love this game. After that, here's another Legacy of Kain with Blood Omen 2. Oh man, makes me thirsty. Then we have The Punisher, although it's a GameStop, so I put a fake cover, but underrated video game and sequel to the Thomas Jane film. I love this. They would not be able to make this video game now, and I actually got this before I got Grand Theft Auto Vice City Stories, and I got carded for that, even though the guy let me get Mortal Kombat in this game. Go figure. Then, another video game that made me cry out of the three, Final Fantasy X. Such a beautiful game. The last of the Squaresoft Final Fantasy. Oh my god, the ending of this. Just heartbreaking. And then an underrated entry is Final Fantasy XII. I love the story. Then we have Driver 3. While it's not Vice City, it has an all-star cast and wonderful cinematics. And then we have the OG Resident Evil 4, at least the PS2 version. I never got a GameCube, so this is my introduction to Resident Evil. And even though I was aware of 2 and played it with my brother, this is a game that got me into Resident Evil. This is my Resident Evil, and oh my god. Yeah. I have 3 copies of it. We also have Indiana Jones and the Emperor's Tomb. This is one of my favorite all-time video games. It's just a shame that it doesn't age as well on HD 4K TVs. I want it to look good. This needs a remaster. Maybe Aspire Media will do it. I don't know, but this is underrated. And then we have Indiana Jones and the Staff of Kings. This isn't as good as Emperor's Tomb, but it has to do with Moses' staff. It's okay. You could tell it was meant for the Wii, but overall, I enjoyed playing it much later. Then we have Terminator Dawn of Fate. Probably the best video game I got for $4.99. Brand new at EB Games. That's right, before GameStop bought out EB Games. That place was amazing. Didn't try to swindle you in any way. Actually had the case. This was hard, but it's one of those where I stopped playing, and then I played months later, and it was great. It was a prequel to the original Terminator. I love this. This and Resistance should be made into a future movie. And then we have the first time Arnold Schwarzenegger was in a video game. Terminator 3 Rise of the Machines. Not a bad movie adaptation from Atari with first-person shooter mechanics and fighting mechanics. Redemption's better. I haven't found it. I rented it, played it, beat it, love it, but I haven't been able to find a copy, so I'm going to have to find it on eBay or somewhere where it's a bit cheaper. And then one of my favorite video games that helped me during a downtime when I was moving and when my father was sick was Mission Impossible Operation Surma. As a Mission Impossible fan, I absolutely love this. It had a Halo jump before Fallout, and it's great. Even though I would have loved Tom Cruise to play Ethan Hunt, it still is a fun game. Maybe he'll be involved with motion capture and they'll do like an Uncharted Mission Impossible style game. I don't know. Speaking of spies, the name's Bond. James Bond. Here is 007 Agent Under Fire. This is actually the last one I played. I played GoldenEye with my friends on the N64, but This is an amazing game that I didn't play until my late 20s, and I wish I played it when it first came out because I thought it was great for its age, and it probably would have been mind-blowing in the past. But we also have 007 Nightfire. It's kind of like a remake of Moonraker. And then one of my favorite, probably my favorite James Bond that I count as Pierce Brosnan's last film is 007 Everything or Nothing. I love this. Then we have From Russia with Love, Sean Connery's last time as 007. And then one of my personal favorites, GoldenEye Rogue Agent. Something about him reminded me of Timothy Dalton if he was bad. I love this video game. Going with more Bond, we have Quantum of Solace. Not a bad adaptation of Casino Royale and Quantum of Solace. Then we have a reimagining of GoldenEye with GoldenEye Reloaded 007. While I'm not a fan of having Daniel Craig replace Pierce Brosnan, this was a cool remaster for what it was. And then we have 007 Legends. This is the death of 007 on video games. It should have been longer. I was mad that they had Daniel Craig as every Bond character throughout the period. I'm like, it would have been awesome if they had different Bonds in different movies, but I did respect it for going through different eras. I would have loved it. It would have been perfect if they went through all the movies. But despite Daniel Craig, I was more mad that they didn't have Halle Berry's likeness in any way as Jinx. And then Bloodstone is a film that I count as a Daniel Craig entry between Quantum of Solace and Skyfall. Underrated. Continuing with movie adaptations, we have Aliens, Colonial Marines. This is a fun little shoot-'em-up video game, and it has a DLC that kind of retcons Alien 3 with Hicks, and I like that. Even better, even though I lost years of my life playing this game, it made me pull out my hair. It was frustrating. It was scary. Alien Isolation is one of the finest Alien experiences I've ever played, and it would be cool if they made a movie of this with Mary Elizabeth Winstead, you know? Then we have Terminator Salvation. Awesome video game. I wish I could find Resistance in physical copy, but it was during COVID and my shipment got delayed, so I have it on digital. Then we have Tron Evolution, a fantastic prequel to Tron Legacy. This video game is bio-digital jazz, man. Watchmen, The End is Nigh, and this actually has the film with it. It's the film and the video game in one little collection with a mini poster. Then with my second PS3, I got the PlayStation Move with Sports Champions. I love the archery and the gladiator fights. Then an underrated video game starring Michael Rosenbaum, even though it looks like young Tom Welling, here is Dark Sector. I love this. Probably one of the best uses of the 6-axis controller I've played in a video game. Then we have Twisted Metal. Wolf Among Us, underrated video game. Cannot wait for the sequel. Back to the Future, the video game, is one of my favorite movie games. It's basically Back to the Future 4. Spider-Man 3. Much better than the film. Who you gonna call? Ghostbusters. This is like Ghostbusters 3 that we never had. I count this as the official third film between Ghostbusters 2 and Ghostbusters Afterlife. Then we have Star Wars The Force Unleashed. I love this video game as Sam Witwer. I wish they'd make it into like a solo movie or a limited series. Like, seriously, before Jedi Fallen Order, we had this. Not as good as the first, very short, but I love Force Unleashed too. Then we have The Bourne Conspiracy, which is pretty much the Bourne Identity without Matt Damon. Underrated first-person video game, Mirror's Edge. I love this video game. Parkour and everything. Much better than its sequel. Going with Rockstar, we have Red Dead Redemption. One of the 3 video games that actually made me cry at the end. This is beautiful. I hope they listen to Jack Black and they make this into an HBO limited series like Last of Us. Then we have Red Dead Redemption 2, a prequel that actually is really good on its own as well. Then we have Max Payne 3. I love this sequel. It's like Man on Fire meets Die Hard and Collateral. L.A. Noire. Fantastic. Then we have Grand Theft Auto, Episodes from Liberty City with Lost and the Damned and Ballad of Gay Tony. This is technically part of GTA 4. I'm going to be honest, I didn't like the main story as much as I like the DLCs of these. Oh man, just Roxette. She's got the look. Stranglehold. Yes, the sequel to Hard Boiled. I love this with Detective Tequila. Grand Theft Auto 5. Then we have Mortal Kombat 9 Complete Edition. They basically Star Trek 2009, the series. I love the reinvention of the first 3 Mortal Kombats in this, and it's awesome to play as Freddy Krueger. Before that, before Injustice, we had Mortal Kombat versus DC Universe. Speaking of Injustice, it just turned 10 years old. This is the original. I remember getting this on day 1. The closest I had to a Justice League film before the Snyder Cut. And then this wasn't very fun. I liked playing as my own hero, but I wanted to play as one of the main heroes, DC Universe Online. Not too bad, but it just wasn't my thing. Speaking of Last of Us, here is the original Last of Us on PS3. I've never played Last of Us Part 2. I heard about the story direction and the leaks. I wasn't interested. Maybe I'll play it before the HBO show, but I love this. Then we have Uncharted, Drake's Fortune. Oh my god, this is so much better in the film. Uncharted 2, Uncharted 3, and then Uncharted 4, A Thief's End. Probably the best ending of a video game series and just video game I've ever seen in my life. Then going to Lara Croft, we have Tomb Raider, Underworld. Not a bad little video game. I might try to find the Tomb Raider trilogy. Then we have the 2013 reboot of Tomb Raider. I love this. My mom gave this to me on Valentine's Day when I was going through a really rough breakup, really. So this game saved my life. Rise of Tomb Raider. Underrated sequel. Then my personal favorite of the trilogy is Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Oh my god, I love this video game. Then we have Heavy Rain, probably one of the most depressing video games I've ever played. Beyond Two Souls, love this game. Detroit Become Human, one of the most beautiful video games I've ever played in my life. WWE 2K20, Mortal Kombat 10, Mortal Kombat 11 Aftermath. I love playing as RoboCop in the Terminator. I'm just mad that they had another edition come out after this with everything on it with Rambo. Injustice 2, the ultimate edition of Injustice. Cobra Kai, Never Dies. Then Cobra Kai 2, still playing through this game at the moment. I love that you can choose 3 dojos. Then we have Final Fantasy 12, The Zodiac Age. Then we have Ghost of Tsushima. I freaking love this video game. This is such an experience, let me tell you. Then we have the Walking Dead Telltale Series Definitive Edition. Oh my god, playing through all the seasons was such a gut-wrenching experience, and this is better than the TV show. This is more in line with the comics. I love this. Clementine's one of my favorite protagonists. Oh my god, this game will break your heart 6 ways from Sunday. Crash Team Racing, Nitro Fueled. I'm going to get me the first 3 Crashes remastered in Crash 4 soon, but it was such a joy playing this with modern graphics. This was an underrated video game I got dirt cheap called Murdered Soul Suspect. I love this. Such a fantastic mystery that ties back to Salem and witches. Oh my god. The fact that you're a detective that gets killed and your ghost has to solve your own murder is just crazy. After that, we have Star Wars Battlefront 2. I love this video game. One of my favorite Star Wars games, up there with the original Battlefront 2. The story is so good, and it ties in and fills in the gaps that were left in the sequel trilogy. I mean, they explain what the First Order is better in this video game than they ever did in the movies. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Love this. They need to make this into a movie like Force Unleashed. Oh my god. Just an awesome video game. And then Star Wars Squadrons. Probably the most fun I've had since Colony Wars and Wing Commander. After that, we have Batman Arkham Asylum. The video game that changed everything. And oh my god. May he rest in peace, Kevin Conroy. I love this series. And then Arkham City. I remember it coming out on October 18th of 2011. Oh, man. And then we had Batman Arkham Origins. Roger Craig Smith plays his voice, but Troy Baker is a fantastic Joker. And this is an underrated story, I feel, set during Christmas time. I love this. I wish this got a remaster. And then we have Batman Arkham Knight. Story not as good as the first 2, but the mechanics are as perfect as can be, and it still looks good years later. I mean, this came out in 2015 and already looks better than Gotham Knights. Going with more superheroes, the Avengers is so underrated, and I love that all the cosmetics are now free. Too bad support will stop for this video game. They had the right idea. I think if they just stuck to the single-player aspect instead of the multiplayer online experience, this would have been like Guardians of the Galaxy, but I love this more than the majority of the MCU, let me tell you. Then we have Spider-Man. Another video game out of the 3 that made me cry at the end. Oh my god. Then we have Spider-Man, Miles Morales, Guardians of the Galaxy, another Marvel video game that's better than the movies, and more faithful to the comic book. I hope this gets made into a TV show like Last of Us. Life is Strange is such a transformative experience and just one of the most heartbreaking, emotional video games, the stories I've ever witnessed, all of them. Wonderful story. We have Before the Storm, the prequel, and then different stories are Life is Strange 2. This broke my heart in different ways. And then contender for being the best one in the series, along with the first, is Life is Strange True Colors. Oh my god. Such a crazy mystery. Just a beautiful video game. I love the main character of Alex Chen. Oh my god. This video game. Play Life is Strange if you have never played the video game series. After that is Mad Max, probably one of my favorite video game movie adaptations. Then we have Alan Wake Remastered. I never got to play this on the original Xbox, and I actually just played it this year. I love it, I love it, I love it. A little bit more difficult. I don't like that it's ambiguous, but at least we're getting a sequel, and guess what? With a Twin Peaks Stephen King vibe, it ties into the world of Control. A difficult game, but fun nonetheless. I love the music moments of both, and I can't wait to see what Remedy does in this universe. You know, they did the first 2 Max Paynes. Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice is an amazing video game, even better with headphones. Oh my god. Another beautiful video game with Detroit and Hellblade is Death Stranding. You pretty much play like a postal service worker. I love it. It is a tedious video game with missions and delivering packages, but once you get to the time travel and element of the story and what's actually happening, oh my god, this reminded me of Final Fantasy Spirits Within in so many ways. Beautiful game. After that we have Vampire. I love this. It has like a Blood Omen, Legacy of Kain vibe. Oh. Underrated video game is The Order 1886. This should have had a sequel. Beautiful game for an early PS4. Then we have Until Dawn. I actually started playing this after Detroit, Life is Strange, and Until Dawn because of like choose your own adventure stories and more narrative driven stories, but oh my god, fantastic cast and twists. And then the same creators of course did The Quarry. This is like a movie. Like an 80s horror movie come to life. One of my favorite games of last year. Speaking of horror, this has been my crown and jewel the past couple of years. You know, I was aware of Resident Evil. I didn't get into it, like I said earlier, till 4. But after Village, I got the remaster collection, and I just love Resident Evil. So the Origins includes 0 and the first one. Probably the best remake as far as an exact remake. And then one of my favorites, probably my favorite Resident Evil is Resident Evil 2, 2019. Resident Evil 3, it's shorter, but I love it. It's so action-packed. Oh my god. Resident Evil 4, I platinum it. Oh my god. This is up there with 2. Like, this video game is just incredible. Probably my favorite video game of the year. Then we have the HD remaster of the original Resident Evil 4. Then Resident Evil 5. Resident Evil 6. Not the best, but I do love the Leon campaign, and it's just so action-packed. It's just a fun game. This game scared me. Resident Evil 7 Biohazard is like the Silent Hill of the franchise. Oh my god. One of my favorite video games of 2021, Resident Evil Village. I love this video game. We're freaking fighting werewolves now. Then we have Resident Evil Revelations, underrated, as well as Resident Evil Revelations 2. Then as far as digital games, I got Terminator Resistance, Grand Theft Auto Vice City, Star Wars Jedi Knight 2 Jedi Outcast, Star Wars Republic Commando, Stranger Things 3 the video game, Star Wars Episode 1 Pod Racer, Horizon Zero Dawn, Star Wars Jedi Knight Jedi Academy, A Plague Tale Innocence, Resident Evil Code Veronica X, Blair Witch, Uncharted Collection, Ghostbusters Remastered, Twin Mirror, Spyro Reignited Trilogy, Ratchet & Clank, Batman Telltale Series, Lego Harry Potter, Dead Rising, Journey, Late Shift, Jeopardy, Wheel of Fortune, Star Wars Bounty Hunter, Call of Duty World War II, Erica, Hitman 2, Lego Batman 3, One Night Stand, Predator Hunting Grounds, Complex, Star Wars Battlefront. Anyway, that does it for my video game collection of 2023. Let me know some of your favorite video games that you have in your own personal collections down in the comments below. Thank you all for watching. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe. It does help with the algorithm. And you can check out these other videos for more content. May everyone stay safe and healthy out there. And until then, game on.